The man accused of participating in the murder of a hip-hop legend fights to be released from jail ahead of his high-profile murder trial after he says he secured the thousands of dollars to make his bail.
And so any conversation that you had with your wife at that time was in an effort just to get her to comply with the bond process?
That's right. I wanted to come home because I got cancer. I just called it back. And here eating y'all processed food. I had colon cancer right here. And it's down in the movie this side, behind this processed food. They don't sell no fruit. It's just terrible. Fake potatoes, fake milk, fake everything. It ain't good for an ex-cancer patient. Now I got it again. They took me to the hospital, UMC, on the 5th of May. He came to my cell and said, Mr. Davis, hurry up and get dressed. You need emergency surgery. So I went over there. They did all the CAT scans and stuff. And they referred me to my cancer doctor. So I went to see him on the 8th of May. And he said, I'll get you to do a colonoscopy in a week, CAT scan in 2 weeks, a PET scan in 3 weeks. They haven't came here to do nothing. I'm in a life situation, and I would say anything to save my life.
After spending nearly 9 months behind bars, former Southside Crips gang member Dwayne Davis, better known as Keefe D, informed the courts he can now pay the $750,000 it'll take to get him out of jail as he awaits trial for murder. Davis has been in a Las Vegas jail since his September 2023 arrest in a long-awaited breakthrough in a case that shocked and devastated the hip-hop community, the 1996 murder of Tupac Shakur. But despite getting the money to afford his bail, it doesn't guarantee Davis will be released from jail. With Davis months away from his murder trial in a recent bail hearing, the topic of where the bail money came from sparked some courtroom drama, as the defense called a single witness to testify before the judge, a man named Cash Jones, a.k.a. music producer Wack 100, who helped provide the money needed to bail out Keefe D.
Mr. Jones, what was the amount that you paid for the bail bond premium in this case?
$112,000. It was 15% of whatever the $750 was.
Okay,
$112,000 and some odd dollars.
And $500, is that correct?
$112,500, yes sir, yes sir.
And you paid that out of your business?
Yes sir.
And what's your business name, sir?
100 Entertainment.
And you're the sole owner of that business, is that correct?
Yes sir.
And that business is a business license to do business in the state of Nevada.
Yes sir.
And how long have you had that business?
Roughly 8 years maybe.
And again, you used the proceeds from that business and you provided us with the documents showing that those amounts were taken from your business account. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How do you know Mr. Davis, sir?
I know him through passing. I know his son. I know him. We sat down and talked a few times. In general, about personal things. He was having this bout with cancer, and personal things, industry stuff. Just regular conversation. He's always been a monumental guy in our community. Conversation. So and I've helped several people in our community. Whether it was funerals, whether it was for bail. In this situation, I know his cancer has been. I don't know if it's come out of remission or within speaking with his son. I know he's having an issue in there, so I lent a helping hand.
But when it came time for the state to question Jones on his motives for posting bail for the former gang member, prosecutors believed Jones to be a middleman, only agreeing to post the bail in exchange for a TV series about Davis's life.
All right, and so the other thing you say in the letter that Mr. Arnold provided to us is that the money is a gift, and Mr. Davis is not obligated to repay. Is that right?
That's right.
All right. Do you have any contract between you and Mr. Davis?
Not as of yet.
Okay. Do you have any financial agreement with Mr. Davis?
Not as of yet.
Do you have any financial agreement with his son?
No, I don't. I want for him to come work for me. That's what he want to do, to try to get him out the streets.
Now, so are there any stipulations that you have with Mr. Davis in order to put up this money for him?
Well, my stipulation with the bail bond, I definitely wanted him to be on house arrest to protect myself.
Now, have you ever said you were thinking about getting Mr. Davis out with the stipulation that you do a series with him?
We've had talks and conversations just about what would be a great series, as the BMF series, and just in question, in general conversation, talking about his life story. But I'm not in TV land, I'm in music. I don't do TV.
Okay.
I've never done a television show or any of that. I do music. Music, streaming, diapers, stuff like that.
Okay, so I just want to be very clear about this. Have you ever stated that you planned on getting Mr. Davis out as long as he did a stipulation with you to do a television series with you?
Oh, I have said this story would be a very interesting story. As if Orlando Anderson's story would be a very interesting story. As if the BMS story, as if my story. We talk about it, everybody talks about it, but again, that's not my lane. If that's what he chooses to do, then that's what he chooses to do. That's not what I do.
If someone were to say that the money provided here to bail Mr. Davis out is not from you, would that be the truth or a lie?
Be a lie.
Okay. If someone,
I didn't send the money, is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Saying I'm not the one providing the funds?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be a lie.
If someone said you are being used as a front, would that be the truth or a lie?
That would be a lie.
If someone says you are a middleman in this transaction, would that be a truth or a lie?
That would be a lie.
If somebody said that there's a movie company putting up the money for you, would that be the truth or a lie?
What company?
A movie company.
No, that would be a lie.
Okay. So your testimony is you're not a middleman.
I'm not a what?
A middleman.
No, I have no contracts with any movie companies. I've never had a contract with a movie company. I've never done television. It's not my thing. I'm actually moving out of entertainment into the diaper business. I have a company called Incredible Diapers. I have contracts in Congo, Nigeria, Amazon, Walmart, and Pueblo. So I'm really moving away from entertainment. These are things I can provide documents, MOUs, contracts for.
No, and I appreciate that, Mr. Jones.
His lawyer did an interview recently and said KPD is a liar. He made up all this stuff just to make some money for people like, me for interviews and to get out of a serious drug case. He was never in Las Vegas. All this is fake, and he's not connected to Tupac's murder at all.
Yeah, I believe him. You believe him?
Do I believe him? That's up to law enforcement. That's I'm not gonna say.
He got a bail. He's supposed to be home.
That's up to
He's
law
supposed to be
enforcement.
home in the next 5 to think about going to bed or not.
You gonna bail out KPD?
Yeah, it's only 75.
Well, cause $1 million.
Well, I make 750.
750, so you got to put 35.
Yeah, I've been thinking about going to get him, and with the stipulations that I do the series on it. People are watching.
Yeah.
Prosecutors say Jones wanting to record interviews with Davis both pre and post release would violate the judge's request for Davis not to profit from his statements on the case. Let's pause this story for a quick second to give a thanks to our sponsors. If you know us at Law&Crime, you also know our stories show sometimes the world is an unpredictable place. So if you're ever hurt, it can be confusing and scary, especially if you don't know where to turn. But there's a great team to help, and that's Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. With a team of over 1,000 lawyers, there's a reason they are the biggest, and their winning proves it. Look, most of us, including myself, always have our phone on us, and with just a few click of a button, you could submit a claim and your injury could be worth millions. And you only have to pay them if you win. There's a $0 upfront fee. Plus, if you're injured, you never want to feel alone. Fighting big companies takes a big law firm. So with America's largest injury law firm, they'll be ready to take on insurance companies of every size. And Morgan & Morgan doesn't settle for lowball offers. So if you're injured, you can start by easily submitting a claim at www.forthepeople.com/LCnews. Again, that website is www.forthepeople.com/LCnews. Now back to the story. Keefe D choosing to speak during the hearing as he hopes the judge will let him out on bail as he currently is fighting cancer.
Mr. Davis, you heard the conversation between your wife and you while you're in custody.
Yes, sir.
And when did that conversation happen?
This happened, I think the day of my birthday, June 14th.
At that point, was the bond posted?
No, sir.
What was the reason that your wife came down to have that discussion with you in regards to Mr. Jones and the cash
She said,
bond?
she said, I'm not signing no papers for,
And when she said that she didn't like him, who was she referring to?
Cass Jones. Her family has problems with it. I don't have problems. And she was like, sell out. That's what she said. And I was just telling her to throw her off, get her off my, get her off my back. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to look like no wuss, her or her family, you know. I don't sell out.
Let me ask the question. Did you think at that time in the bond process that your wife's signature was necessary for you to be released?
Yes, sir.
And so in the effort to convince her to go ahead and get her signature, what did you tell her in regards to Mr. Jones?
I said, he don't have nobody like that to put up. It's Jewish people, it's nothing, just so she can sign a bond and leave, leave that as is. She was saying I was to sell out. They play the whole tape.
Okay, did you come to find out that you did not need her signature to enter into the bond process?
I found out just following when she came up and see me.
And so any conversation that you had with your wife at that time was in an effort just to get her to comply with the bond process?
That's right. I wanted to come home because I got cancer. I just called it back. And here eating y'all processed food. I had colon cancer right here. And it's down in the movie to this side. Behind this processed food. They don't sell no fruit. It's just terrible. Fake potatoes, fake milk, fake everything. It ain't good for an ex-cancer patient. Now I got it again. They took me to the hospital. UMC on the 5th of May. He came to my cell and said, Mr. Davis, hurry up and get dressed. You need emergency service. So I went over there. They did all the CAT scans and stuff. And they referred me to my cancer doctor. So I went to see him on the 8th of May. And he said, did you do a colonoscopy in a week, CAT scan in 2 weeks, a PET scan in 3 weeks? They haven't came here to do nothing. I'm in a life situation, and I would say anything to save my life.
At the time of Davis's arrest nearly a year ago, authorities would call Davis a shot caller, saying he orchestrated a plan that would later be carried out. So let's go back to nearly 30 years ago to that fatal night of September 7th, 1996. Tupac and Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight were attending a Mike Tyson fight in Las Vegas, Nevada. Also in attendance was Keefe D and his nephew Orlando Anderson, as well as other gang members from the Southside Crips. Anderson reportedly had conflict with members of Death Row's entourage and rival gang the Mob Piru. As both groups were leaving the fight at the MGM Hotel, members of Death Row Records spotted Anderson and a brawl broke out. Hotel surveillance footage from that night shows Tupac repeatedly kicking and punching Anderson. Investigators say once Keefe D found out about the fight, he allegedly devised a plan for revenge. Tupac and Suge Knight were planning to head to an after party, but tragically would never make it. As Suge Knight with Tupac in the passenger seat drove down the Las Vegas Strip, they were caught at a red light. A white Cadillac pulled up next to them. Then gunfire erupted. Knight was grazed by a bullet fragment and sustained minor injuries. However, the case wasn't the same for the California Love rapper, who was shot multiple times in the drive-by. He died a week later in the hospital. While Tupac's death seemingly went unsolved for decades, investigators would trace the crime back to Keefe D, who had long been known to police as one of 4 suspects identified early in the investigation.
It has taken countless hours, really decades, of work by the men and women of our homicide section to get to where we are today. Several of those detectives that are standing here with us include Detective Cliff Mogg, the lead detective on this case. He is now retired. While I know there's been many people who did not believe that the murder of Tupac Shakur was important to this police department, I'm here to tell you that was simply not the case. It was not the case back then, and it is not the case today. Our goal at LVMPD has always been to hold those accountable and responsible for Tupac's violent murder accountable. Just like we do for every homicide victim in our city. Every single victim, every life that is lost is important and remains a priority to this police department. As we methodically built this case to move forward with an arrest, it was also important that at the same time, we're building towards a successful prosecution. We work closely with our esteemed district attorney, Steve Wolfson, in his office to ensure that is going to happen. Mr. Davis's own words reinvigorated our case in 2018. I'm going to give you some of those details, and I'm going to introduce to you our homicide lieutenant, Jason Johansson, and he will provide you many of the details on how we got here today.
My homicide section handled this investigation from its onset and for a short amount of time. And within a short amount of time, what we knew was that we were working a gang investigation where our victims, our witnesses, and our suspects were all from Southern California and not local to Las Vegas. Within the first few months of the investigation, our detectives knew most of the information I just briefed you on. However, we never had the necessary evidence to bring this case forward and present it for criminal charges. As time went on, this case had been reviewed multiple times by different investigators assigned to my section, but it wasn't until 2018 that this case was reinvigorated as additional information came to light related to this homicide. Specifically, Dwayne Davis's own admissions to his involvement in this homicide investigation that he provided to numerous different media outlets. In our section, we knew at this time that this was likely our last time to take a run at this case to successfully solve this case and bring forth a criminal charge. It was at that time that this case was assigned to Cliff Mogg, a detective within my homicide section. And over the last 5 years, my section worked closely, hand in hand with the Clark County District Attorney's Office and followed a systematic investigative plan over the last 5 years. We've conducted countless interviews and corroborated numerous facts that were not only consistent with the crime scene on the night of the incident, but also corroborated and were consistent with the sequence of events that night. This ultimately led to us procuring a search warrant which was executed at Mr. Davis's residence in Henderson, Nevada. And following the execution of that search warrant, in close coordination with the District Attorney's Office, this case was presented to the grand jury, which ultimately led to Davis being indicted on charges of murder.
Keefe D was one of 4 men inside the vehicle where the shots came from, riding with Terrence Brown as the driver, as well as Orlando Anderson and DeAndre Smith in the back seat. Over the years, Keefe D reportedly blabbed about being involved in the murder of Tupac. In Davis's 2019 tell-all memoir titled Compton Street Legend, he admitted to providing the gun used in the drive-by shooting. He said he was in the front passenger seat of the Cadillac and slipped the gun into the back seat where the shots were fired from, even implicating his own nephew, Orlando Anderson, in the murder, saying he was one of 2 people in the back seat. He would reiterate those claims in an Art of Dialogue interview posted to YouTube in 2021, nearly 2 years before his arrest.
And the homie's like, man, they've been advertising all week they're going to be at the 662 Club.
Yeah.
Do a little thing up there, concert after party. So we went up there, and we waited about an hour. They didn't ever show up. We left, went to the liquor store, got us some drinks. All them dudes in that van was acting like hoes and shit. Well, not all of them, but, you know, majority of them.
So you said in your book that you got tired of, like, hearing them, like, you know, act
like this dude from the police gonna kill us. Dude, you know this mother how the police kill you? I'm like, man, him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So you ended up getting in the car with Baby Lane and them?
I got in the car with the homies, yeah. And we ran into them. We went up to the light on Sunset and Flamingo. And dude was acting like he was in a parade or something. And that BMW hanging out the window. Hey, this Tupac, he's Tupac. And them they was hollering for him. And we like, there go that motherfucker. Came up on the side of him. And, yeah, he was hanging out the window. Then we just came up on the gutter lane. They was like 13 cars. All of them was black too. I guess Suge had a thing for the black cars that night. So we went up on the side of them. And we seen him. And out there she wrote.
And I read in the book you said that it looked like you guys rolled up and Pac reached.
Looked like he was reaching, yeah. It looked like he was ready to bust our ass. And she like we was the first one. Shit.
Yeah.
Luckiest one, I guess. Hit that corner, gave a little chase, boom, boom, boom. Got the busing, we bust back. And jumped up out that motherfucker Cadillac, put the gun on the tire, got the gone.
So how did you know Tupac and Suge was in the black BMW?
He was hanging out the window.
Tupac?
Yeah.
What was he doing?
He had half his body out the window. Yeah. Just, you know, that Bay Area you know how they do. That weird like Ghost Rider whip. You know, they just want to be flamboyant. You know what I'm saying? Want to be seen and
But you said the females was yelling Tupac's name, right?
Yeah, once
that's
he was
how
hanging
y'all
out the
found
window.
out they was in the court, right?
Tupac, Tupac, and he was, hey, you know. You know, a real he gonna be sitting down and set his down somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I'll be hanging out no window. Just want to be seen and
Right, right. So,
what's up?
So you and your crew, y'all on Flamingo and Koval, and y'all slowly pull up to Tupac and Suge in a black BMW. Tell me how that came about.
We just took the gutter lane. And like we said, we pulled up to the stoplight, and they was making a right. It was about 17 cars. We just pulled up in the gutter lane and seen that. Yo, and I first shot it, hit Big Boy in the head. I thought he was dead. Like, damn, he dead. And they didn't even give chase, make it so bad. Some brawls gave it chase. They got their little windshield shot out. It was over with after that.
Dre, he was the one that was supposed to shoot, you know, Tupac and Suge, but he got scared, right?
No, he didn't really get scared. You know, he wasn't ready for that. They was youngsters, man. Kids.
But once again, I mean, y'all Crips, right? So he should be used to that, right, Dre? So why was
he wasn't ready for that. Everybody got a role, man. Everybody ain't killers. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't gonna kill.
So
everybody
Dre,
ain't
he
with
wasn't
that.
a shooter?
No.
Okay, so but he was the one that was supposed to shoot up Tupac and Suge, but for some reason he wasn't ready for it, so he gave the gun to Orlando, right?
Something like that, yeah.
And Orlando is the shooter. He's the known shooter. I mean, everybody know Orlando Anderson was a shooter. So Dre got cold feet. He didn't want to do it. He gave the gun to Orlando, and Orlando shot Tupac and Suge.
Yeah, he did his thing, yeah.
But since those interviews, Davis is having a change of tune, as he's now denying all involvement. Keefe D now remains the last person standing who was in the Cadillac on the night of Tupac's murder. Orlando Anderson was gunned down in May of 1998. The other backseat passenger, DeAndre Smith, died in 2004. And the driver, Terrence Bubble Up Brown, was killed in a 2015 shooting in Compton, California. And fast forward to 2024, as the trial is slated to kick off in November, it remains unclear if a judge will allow Davis to prepare for his trial behind a jail cell or from his home. Despite securing the money to be released on bail, the judge declined to immediately release Dwayne Keefe D. Davis from jail. Judge Kearney said she would need to review the bank statements provided from Cash Jones, aka Wack 100, before issuing her ruling. Reporting for Law and Crime, I'm Elizabeth Milner.